In the beginning was the Word. But what was that word, and where did it come from? Behind me, you can see an extract from a beautiful poem by Howard Nemerov, in which he reflects about the coming of language to humanity. Who can remember back to the first poets? They were the ones that in whatever tongue worded the word. They were the first to say star, water, stone. They said the visible and made it bring invisibles to view. They worded the world. What was here before we could think it, name it, speak it? What is a thing if we can't name it? And how can we conceptualize without the language that frames our entire understanding of ourselves and our wonderful world? We are the only ones who can do this. This sets us apart from every other species on the planet. And the miracle and the mystery of that, our complex human language, where it came from, why we have it, and why it is so important, has always fascinated me, and it's what I want to talk about today. But before I do that, perhaps it's worth having a think about what language is, and indeed what it isn't. Because language isn't just sounds. Animals, of course, make sounds. Whales sing songs, cats meow, bees hum, and there's plenty of research to show that animals can make sounds very specifically to communicate. The South African mervet monkeys, for example, have one sound that means snake, and they all run up a tree, and they have another sound that means eagle, and they all run down the tree and hide under the bushes. And you might say, well, there they are making sounds, they're modifying the sounds to convey a different meaning, and that is leading to action. Isn't that a kind of language? Well, maybe, but human language is so much more complex, and our ability to learn it so much more innate, that is something far beyond what animals can do. So what is human language? Because of course, we also have sounds with meaning attached. We call them words. It's what linguists refer to as signifiers. But complex language requires much more than just words. There is a magic ingredient, and the magic ingredient may not sound sexy, but it really truly is. The magic ingredient is grammar. Words plus grammar equals complex language, because grammar is the thing that enables us to convey an infinite variety of sounds and an infinite variety of meaning from a finite number of sounds. And animals, of course, cannot do this. Let me give you an example. An ape might be able to make a sound that means ape. And indeed, it might even be able to modify the sound to suggest dangerous ape. But an ape could not make a compositional sentence. Dangerous ape is eating bananas. Nor could it modify and enhance the meaning of its compositional sentence. The big, fat, hairy, ugly, dangerous ape is eating bananas in the forest. And it certainly couldn't change the meaning of its sounds using an idiom. The whole of Year 9 is going ape in Old Jim. Only humans can do this. Only humans have grammar, and that enables complex language. And that grammatical complex language enables other behaviours that are quintessential and unique to humans. What are they? Well, firstly, we can make things. We can make tools, we can make art, we can make technology. No other species can make anything as sophisticated as we can. Secondly, and very importantly to me as an English teacher, we can imagine. And again, there's no evidence to suggest that any other species can imagine things in the way that we do. And thirdly, and this I will come back to, we can cooperate with human beings to whom we are not related. This is a key evolutionary tool. It is essential to our survival, and it is one of the reasons why we have become the dominant and most complex species on the planet. But where did this come from? Because it was not always like this. If you are an early human, Homo habilis or Homo erectus, you live in the present moment. You respond to immediate needs and threats and wants. You live in a big group, but you don't gossip. You cooperate, but only with close kin. You don't bury your dead. You don't worship gods and spirits. You don't paint on cave walls. You don't say, I wonder, or I wish. You don't yet talk about tomorrow or yesterday. You have a very powerful brain, but you literally can't do that yet. You have not yet made the leap to abstract thought. Our early human ancestors were brilliant survivors, but they were not yet storytellers. And absolutely no shade to them, of course. They evolved over 2.5 million years to get us to the point where we could use complex language. So they definitely put in the evolutionary hard yards. So what happened? What changed? Well, a miraculous thing happened 100,000 years ago, and it's something which anthropologists and linguists refer to as the cognitive revolution. Because 100,000 years ago, all of a sudden, human beings developed the capacity to talk about things that were not there. The entire abstract world leapt into being for them. They said the visible, and it brought invisibles to view. They spoke the speechless world. And that cognitive leap was the final spark that enabled them to use complex grammar and complex language. And the kind of linguistic developments were, for example, that they were able to use recursive language. That's when you nest one idea inside another. The hairy mammoth, which we saw yesterday, is drinking by the pond. Suddenly they were able to think symbolically. This circle is a sun, this squiggle is a bison, this straight line is a spear. And increasingly, they were able to cooperate over very large groups, across the miles and across the generations. But how and why did this happen? What made the cognitive revolution occur? Well, there are all sorts of theories about that, and I haven't got time, sadly, to go into all of them. So I'll just pick my favourite three. Firstly, brain plasticity. Human beings are born with underdeveloped brains, so they have to learn stuff. They have to pick up linguistic cues, and they have to be curious and adapt to what is happening around them. And the individuals who were the very best at doing this were the ones that were most likely to make it through childhood into adulthood and reproduce and pass on their genes for curiosity and linguistic acumen. So that complex linguistic ability became a big evolutionary driver. Secondly, and I love this one, energy from cooking. None of us really know why it was that our early human ancestors suddenly decided to start cooking their food. I like to think an apple fell into the fire and someone thought it just tasted nicer. But whatever the reason was, the minute we were primarily eating cooked food, we suddenly had a whole lot more energy spare, because it takes a lot less energy to digest cooked food than to digest raw food. Therefore, there was more energy that was no longer going into the gut that could be used to fire up our brains and develop complex language in them. And then finally, of course, with bigger brains and better food, we started living in ever larger social groups. And that meant we had more people that we had to keep track of and understand. And in order to do that, we developed a very unique and specific human tool. Again, no other species has it. And that special, rare human tool is gossip. Gossip is the thing that enables us to connect with a wide range of people, to develop empathy and understanding, and to work out who to trust. And it was this that ultimately helped us to develop from clever apes to cultural beings. Just before I finish, I want to take a bit of a step back on an evolutionary scale, because I think it is instructive. So 13.5 billion years ago, the Big Bang happens, physics starts. 13.4 billion years ago, atoms start to interact, that's chemistry. A mere 3.8 billion years ago, primitive life starts to develop, that is biology. A paltry 2.5 million years ago, human life starts to evolve, and an almost missable 100,000 years ago, Homo sapiens start cooking their food, cooperating, and using complex language. And from that, everything. Us. Civilizations, cultures, nation states, politics, philosophy, music, art, poetry, drama, maths, the entire glorious, colourful symphony of our world emerged from that almost infinitesimal evolutional blip, the moment 100,000 years ago when we got language. It is precious and it needs preserving. And that brings me to my final point. Because at the heart of all of this is the human capacity and need and desire for connection, for kindness, our willingness to work as a team. Let's kill this mammoth as a team. Let's build this settlement together. Let's raise our children in a group. Let's share our food. Let's weave each other's clothes. Let's hew tools together. All of this, kindness, cooperation, and connectedness, is what has made us who we are, and able to do what we do and to use the language that we have. And that human capacity for trust, cooperation, and kindness is something we should never take for granted. Humans have developed over 2.5 million years because of it, and I profoundly hope that it will be the defining and distinguishing characteristic of the human species for the next 2.5 million years. But we should not take that for granted. We can see every day how language can be manipulated to distort, subvert, generate suspicion and mistrust. And we should not let that happen on our watch, because free, open, trusting, and connected human communication is a very rare and unique gift. So together we should keep that precious, fragile, powerful human linguistic flame burning as brightly as we can in all our interventions and interactions and projects in the years to come. And if we do, I profoundly hope that the next 2.5 million years of human species will be successful. This final picture is a picture from the Cuevas dos Manos in South America. That handprint is 40,000 years old. Could there be anything more moving than that wordless sentence from across the millennia? What, I wonder, was this person saying to us? And maybe even more importantly, what do we, all of us here, the human species in 2025, want to say back? Thank you very much.